Good afternoon, everyone. Today, in this video, we'll be seeing how to make a medium level tool test component as shown on the screen. Welcome to CAD Technologies. Now, let's begin our training session. This tutorial basically includes a step-by-step procedure of how to make the model as you can see in the 2D drawing. First, let us analyze the 2D drawing and then proceed further. We have a first angle of projection provided on the sheet. As you can see, this is the front view, this is the left view, and this is the top view. Now there are sections cut at various locations. This is your first section, this is your second section, and this is the front section which is cut exactly at this location as I'm trying to show it to you on the screen. Now the front view has hidden views to understand these cuts. Similarly has another detailed hidden view which is for better understanding of the internal cuts, and the section view has cut over here for better understanding of the internal cuts. Now we also have a top view which shows the thickness of the ribs or stiffeners. Similarly we have a front view. The front view is actually another view which is CC, which is cut at this location to show how the internal features of the cut are, as you can see on the screen. Now, let's begin making this model by simply considering our front view at the moment. Now, in the front view, there are two portions. This is the first one, these are the second one, two segments. So first let us try to make the base and then add the second segment. Again, we are solely working on product design and we are working on solid modeling. So under start mechanical design we have part design. Under the part design we will be using various commands to make this particular model. Now let's begin with the base. As I've already mentioned, again I'm using a pad command to add the material, and I can maintain symmetry at any point of time. So let me try to take a rectangle first and then try to maintain symmetry using the symmetrical constraint. Now similarly the overall length of this is 410 and the height of this is 15. It's actually shown over here. Now double click on any command to use it multiple times in CATIA, whereas other softwares usually gives you the flexibility to use it multiple times in general. Now I'm exiting the Sketcher workbench and entering into the pad. Now while doing the pad or the addition of material, the base is actually up to 85 on both the sides. So I'll just be giving 85 by 2 because we are using a mirrored event concept, and I am taking it equally on both the sides because I have two stiffeners or a supporting bars for this one in the center itself, as you can see, and the second segment also is located in the center, which is added equally on both the sides. So this will be easier for me to do it using the front plane. Now let's continue making the next model as well. Again, sketch. I'm using this as my reference. We know how to take references and keep them in your construction modes. Let's try to take the arc. The arc actually has a center starting from the midpoint of this, which is this. So let's try to start and make the arc somewhat like this and keep them symmetric as well as dimension them. This is the dimension which I want to give, and I want to keep them symmetric with respect to the center axis, as well as give the distance in between both of them by taking those lines, which we will in a minute, which is 320. So let's try to take those lines at the moment and try to join them with the base. Similarly, I need another line over here so I can join them with the base. Now I can join this as well. Now the sketch is actually supposed to be completely constrained, so let's try to see what's wrong. Okay, it's not coincident on the exact point, so let me try to use a coincide constraint. Now try to close the base. Now this particular profile is added equally on both the sides to 75. So I can just add them using mirrored event to 75. adds the material. Continuing. This particular section, as you can see, is hollow. There's no material here, and you can see it in the section view. So to do that, we can either make a complete sketch or you can do it one after the other. But it is easier to make a complete sketch and work on it further. I will try to use this as my axis, do half and mirror it onto the other side because that's a little more easier and I can use a mirror command to do so. Now, let's begin making this. First, I'd like a line. It has to be equally symmetric on both the sides. So, let's try to take symmetry. You can actually use symmetrical line as well while doing it. I think that would be a feasible option rather than doing this so many times. Now, the height of this, whatever, as you can see, is at 45 from the base. This is my base, and from this it's supposed to be at 45. As you can see, I am constraining the profile. Now, similarly, I have another line this way. It's of the same length again, which is of 60. The reason why I am telling you it's of the same length is because typical is written on this side and it has a line which is offsetted onto the other side. I'll try to make the exact profile so we can see how it works. The edge has to be offsetted till this one and supposed to be 15. And a line actually comes from here, goes slant and then creates an arc. Let me try to take the arc. Okay, and trim off this. I'm trying to make the exact profile. I'll just give me some time. I'll be as quick as I can. Now we know the overall length from here to here is 270. Now the main and the most important reference is the 200. The 200 is actually located at the center of this cut. So I'd like to place a point in a construction format exactly located at the center, as you can see, and the same point will be placed on this side as well. So the distance between these two will actually be 200, as you can see on the screen. Let me try to make it a midpoint. Now I'll try to give 200 in between this and this. That will be a little more easier for me. This is supposed to be 200. Now, there's a height which I'm supposed to constrain, which is from here to here, which is 30. It's actually shown over here. Now, there are just small grooves this way, which are actually, as you can see, I should have removed from the construction mode. Just give me 1 second. Yes. The depth of this is actually 5. This is again shown over here. The same thing is on to the other side. So if you want, you can redo it or you can mirror it. Mirroring is a little less easier for me. I'm just trying to mirror it onto the opposite side, as you can see. Now, this also can be mirrored. It's actually up to you. You can either take an offset or you can mirror it. This also is offsetted up to 15 because it's 15 typical. So I'd like to offset this too towards the inner side and give it as 15. Now you can corner them by using trim. It's a little easier to do so. This and this, that way. Similarly, I'd like to do it on this side as well. This and this, and trim it. This is the portion which we're supposed to cut. It's completely constrained. I'm trying to exit. I'm trying to remove the material up to the next surface. This is actually your internal cut with completely constrained features. Now, since the feature is located at the midpoint over here, you can actually take a midpoint and then create a plane, which is much more easier than working on various other concepts. So let me try to take up this thing and then place a 3D point over here, which is the midpoint, and I don't want it to be in a construction format. Now this is the point. So I can take a plane passing through the point and keeping parallel. This is the parallel reference, this is the point reference. On this plane, I would like to make this sketch. This shape is actually cut up to 30 equally on both the sides, because this is my center, which I have already maintained inside the sketch as 200. So on this, let's try to create the removal of material. It's not up to next. I'd like to change that after we finish the sketch. Now, my references are this base, of course. From there, we have to make this profile. Let's go back to your right view, and I already have the center, so I can maintain symmetry as well. Now let me try to directly take the shape and then work on it. Now, all of these should maintain symmetry with the center plane. Let's try to maintain some symmetry with this. Similarly, these two also should. Again, you can mirror, either way is correct. Now the dimension between the dimension of this line is actually shown over here, which is 15. The reason why typical is written is because there are cuts on both the sides, not only on one side. I am trying to show it to you on one side only. This is 30 and the depth of this is 13 and the depth of this is 15. Exactly. It's not actually cut up to next, up to a certain dimension and equally on both the sides. So we need to give 15 because it's a mirrored event and it has to be cut on both the sides. You can mirror this feature with respect to the center plane onto the other side. You can also see your dynamic sectioning in the front view to see this cut, as you can see over here. Or you can actually take a plane and also see it. I'll try to move this a little upwards. This is the direction. As you can see, this is the cut. You can see it from this plane as well, on which this is your right cut. Similarly, there is another internal cut. We need to understand that there is an internal cut exactly at the center, but the cut is not through. If it is through, we'll be able to see it as dark lines in the front view. Hence, the cut is not through. It's only up to 50, which is shown in this particular view. Now, this is at the center, so I'd like to use the mid plane and start working on the internal cut. I'm using a simple pocket and start making my profile. This is the reference. Since I have symmetries and all which are supposed to be maintained, it will be a little more easier for me to do it. So the profile actually goes like this, that way, and an arc and straight in this way and a semi arc and then goes down. I'll give dimensions one after the other. Now, since the same feature is onto the other side, I'd like to mirror only this because I need to maintain 15, which is this particular dimension. I'm constraining it, I'm putting it in construction because this dimension is required for me. So again, the distance between this and this line is supposed to be 15. This is the first dimension which I'd like to control. The second dimension is this one, which again, as in the drawing, is supposed to be 54. Or let's try to maintain 120 first. Maybe that's a better option because it just does not spoil my arc. 54. And we also have distances from the top. That is, from the internal cut till this is actually 15. You can use any cut, any side. Similarly, from the top till here is actually 40. Now, the arc dimension, as already mentioned, is 5. Okay, this 50, 40 to the base. Okay. Oh, there's a tangency here. I'm so sorry. Let's try to remove that and give this is 5. This is the 5. Now, we need to maintain the overall 120 and the 54 and 40. 120 from this edge. Since they have already mentioned 5 typical, so let me try to give this dimension as well and constrain it and say 5. Now exit. This particular body is cut only up to a certain extent, which is 50 equally on both the sides, which is 25 mirrored event on both the sides, which is 50, as you can see. This is your internal cut. The same cut has to be onto the other side of the body as well. Okay, there is an extra pad. Let me try to delete this first. Great. Now I want to mirror this with respect to this onto the other side. So let me try to take a section view now and try to show it to you. This is how the internal cut looks like. This is your section view and the internal cuts. Now we do have few rounds which they are provided with R10 etc. So first let me try to give those because they are indirectly dependent on the stiffeners. So let me try to give these first and then proceed further with the other rounds. This is 10. Again go back. Sorry. Now there are 5 radius given over here. Let me try to take this 5. So once I take that, automatically it takes a simple round, and I have a 5 here as well, so I'm taking that 5 as well. So it takes a complete round. There's no round. Okay, there's no round on this corner, is it? Sorry. Okay, so this is your arcs. Now let's try to actually use the stiffener command at the moment. We have a stiffener. Again, select our sketch. They are located exactly at the center, so it will be a little more easier for us to work on. This is my reference and this is my reference. So let me try to use those references and then make a simple profile using my sketch. This is the first point. This is your end point. Once I exit, it will ask me for the thickness. The thickness is actually provided in the top view, which is 15. So I'm trying to take that as 15. You can mirror the same thing actually onto the other side as well and say, okay, this is your stiffener. This is actually how you make a very simple model, understanding all the section view and your internal cuts. Multiple section views, multiple internal cuts and hidden views. It's a medium level tool test component. To know a little more to learn a little more expert level of training, or if you're looking for any jobs related to software fields, please try to contact us. Our details are in the description below. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe to our channel. Thank you.